Hello and welcome to Newman Gymnasium, where we have the Vermont State Johnson Badgers here to face your Husson University Eagles. I'm Logan Martin, joined by Avery Henningsen and Sam Miller. Sam, an exciting matchup in this one. A lot of the same but different than what we saw last night in terms of record. Vermont State Johnson coming in 3-10 on the season, but they feature a lot of height in this lineup.
Absolutely. One person to watch out for this in terms of height is number 1, Raymond Baca, the 6'7" senior out of Atlanta, Georgia, can really get it done on both sides of the floor. 19 points, 11 rebounds, 2.7 steals, 2.7 assists, 9 steals, 2 blocks per game, shooting 50% from the field, 69% from the free throw line. They've looked for him to get very involved, as well as number 7, Jason Baker, making his first start as a part of this Badgers team. He's a 6'10", listed as a 4, but that's more of a center height for him. Expect him to go one-on-one with Lewis and try to exploit that matchup in the paint.
Avery, we have not seen any statistics this year of Jason Baker or any recent statistics, but watching them warm up, what have you seen from him and what can he offer for this Vermont State Johnson team?
He gives me kind of that vibe of that silky smooth player that has that height, but as he just gets called up right there, but he has that height, but he also knows how to utilize kind of positioning to get himself in and around the hoop. And I think we're going to see if he might be a mismatch against this Eagles squad that isn't used to that amount of height. The Eagles, not a very big team. They have some really talented smaller guards and players out there. But really, most of this starting roster, save Matondo and Lewis, not that big of players. And we'll see how that matchup works out there tonight.
Indeed, we will see how that matchup goes. We'll be right back for basketball action after the rest of these starting lineups. Welcome back to Newman Gymnasium. We're just about to get underway. Tip-off here shortly. Talked a lot about how Husson can play against a tall lineup that we see Vermont State Johnson. A lot of length on the court right now. Sam, what can you expect Coach Caruso to dial up for a game plan to kind of take away the height that Vermont State has coming into this one?
Driving kick, that's what you got to do. We saw in that last game against Linden, Husson really lit it up from downtown around just shy of 40%. Going to drive to the basket and kick. We talked about it. Avery talked about it during the pregame. Husson's tallest players are Ty Henke and Scott Lewis, clocking in at 6'6". Matana right behind him is 6'5", so definitely a taller lineup than what they're used to going up against. But it'll be interesting to see how they approach it. But yeah, driving kick, try to create some spacing and create some open opportunities.
As we see Scott Lewis here in the paint, no shot opportunity with 6'10" Baker on him. As we see Heald throw up a three, it is good. Connor Heald with the first basket for Husson, and Vermont State Johnson pushing the pace. As we see the freshman guard, Matthew Carter, go up with a miss, no good. They get their own rebound, Carter gets it, kicks it back out to the top, Samega drives. Kicks it over to Baker. Baker steps back, doesn't have a shot. Post touchdown, and that'll be tipped and out of bounds. Remains Badger basketball.
Yeah, and they're going to have to get this in and get a shot off immediately, Logan, if they're going to want a chance at this basket.
Like Avery said, 4 seconds on the clock. 3, 2, they didn't get a shot up. They see their freshman puts one up, but that's too late. Took too long to get a shot up. There'll be a violation, shot clock violation. It'll be Eagles basketball.
That's 2 great possessions for Connor Heald right there. Broke the ice with the incredible three-pointer, and then a nice closeout to force a shot clock violation.
The freshman from Lakewood Ranch, Florida, really doing it all for the Eagles. Made his first start yesterday, making his second today. He's been a valuable player for the Eagles this year. As we see Maranta making a post move, tries to kick it out. That'll be stolen away. Baker recovers it. Baker pushes it up. As Baca won't get the basketball. It'll be tipped away. It'll be a foul.
It's going to go against Gil Matondo. He's going to have the assignment of trying to slow down Raymond Baca. We talked about how important his impact is for this Badgers team. Their leading scorer and leading rebounder, ultra efficient from the floor. And Matondo, of course, a two-time NAC Defensive Player of the Week. It'll be interesting to see how he approaches trying to slow down someone of Baca's caliber.
And there'll be a push called underneath the basket on Scott Lewis. He can't believe the call.
Yeah, 2 inches of height doesn't feel like that much when you kind of look at them next to each other, but in the basketball world, that's a big difference out there. Baca's going to just have a little bit more reach over Matondo, and it's going to be hard, I think, for Matondo to get over top of him. It's going to rely on good positioning from the junior here for the Eagles.
As we see Samega get one to go right there. The height definitely an issue for the Eagles. Talk about the height, but also the wingspan. That can make up a lot of height. As we see Samega pass to the freshman, his jump shot no good. Controlled by Maranta, but they will blow a whistle. And there'll be an inbound. It'll stay Vermont State Johnson basketball.
Yeah, they were trying to play that it went off a Badgers player, but nonetheless, the Stripes did not see it that way.
As Baca, wide open under the hoop, can't get it to go. He tries to muscle his way, and Neff will take it away, and they call a jump ball.
Yeah, a little surprised by that one. Matondo, again, the great defense on Baca. Neff looked like he poked it away.
Did look like Neff just kind of took it from him. And
nonetheless, it'll stay here with Husson, or with the Badgers.
As Matthew Carter, the freshman, controls it to Baker. Baker will drive and dunk it. He just drives right to the basket and dunks it. A little too easy for the 6'10 junior.
Yeah, there's that height on display. Doesn't need a whole lot with his hands up to kind of get up and to the hoop.
As Neff drives to the hoop, gets the layup to go off the goaltending on Baker.
Yeah, Avery mentioned that 6'10 frame of Baker is going to make things very hard for Eagles to have anything in the paint. It was a bold move by Neff to drive into the paint, but we've seen Riles Neff what he can do when he drives to the paint. He can make magic happen.
As you see Baker with a step back shot, midi no good. Short, Scott Lewis with the rebound, he pushes it up. Finds Neff for three, he posts, goes up a shot, that's good. Riles Neff for three. The Eagles lead by 4 with 17 minutes left in the first.
That's just too easy for Riles Neff. It's like we talked about, driving, kick the basketball. Scott Lewis played that perfectly. Drove to the middle of the lane, found the open Neff with an easy three-pointer.
Baca with a spin move down the post, and that's good. What a tough shot by Raymond Baca, the senior forward.
Yeah, this shooting is going to be really important for the Eagles. We've talked about the height a lot already in this one. It's going to be hard for the Eagles to drive into the basket against this much larger Vermont State Johnson Badgers team out there. It's going to have to be on the outsides around the shooting arc that the Eagles are going to make their money.
And the Eagles' most dominant scorer, Riles Neff, we see his shot. A lot of it falls from that mid-range area. That mid-range shot might be taken away just a little bit, especially with the length. We talked about it a lot on the broadcast, but a 6'10" Baker getting up a mid-range shot over him won't be as easy this game. See Jeremy Maranta post one up, finds Heald off the inbounds play, no good off the front rim, rebounded by Matthew Carter. He pushes the pace. It's a mismatch down in the paint as Baker's on Maranta. All he has to do is spin, try to put it up, but he fades away. Baca gets the offensive rebound, puts it up, no good. Gets his own again and puts it up, and it's in.
And that's just Raymond Baca to a T right there. Just stays with his play, does not give up on the loose ball, and just keeps it going for two. But you got to admire the Husson defense. Just Baca's missed a couple shots early on, so kind of keeping him. Yes, he has scored, but keeping him out of a consistent rhythm will be important.
I'm surprised there's no call right there on the three as Baker rams right into him. Lewis with the offensive rebound back to Heald. Good touch. That goes up and in. Looked like when Neff shot that three, Baker just kind of, his contest ran right into him. There's no call. I don't think the ref was watching it.
You're allowed to give your, as a defender, you have to give your person that you're guarding a certain amount of space when they're shooting a shot. It looked like whoever it was closed out on Neff, just didn't give him enough space. Nonetheless, it results in the basket.
And Coach Caruso's been stood up by the action that's been going on in this game. So there's going to be a foul under the basket. As this 3-10 Vermont State Johnson Badgers team Showing a lot of grit and toughness hanging with the Eagles so far. 2-point lead by the Eagles. It doesn't even seem like that much. And Avery, I wonder if we were to watch the tapes of the last few games from Vermont State Johnson, how much Baker has made an impact on this team in this game already in his first start.
Yeah, he's someone that I think they've kind of been missing that dominant presence inside. I'm sure Baca he plays more as a forward. You can already see it out there, but I'm sure with Baker's absence, he probably got pushed more into that center role, which he's a little bit undersized for that role at 6'7", but forward, he's definitely on the bigger side. So it's kind of one of those ones that I've kind of talked about it a lot, that when you're kind of missing one player in that group, it's kind of trickle-down economics that it kind of drops everyone down a position. Now your forward's playing centered, and your shooting guard is now having to push up into a different role.
And obviously having a 6'10" player on your roster, putting up valuable minutes is a very important thing to have as a head coach. But Baker's looks like he's playing from outside in. As we see Baca doing most of the work down the paint as he's down below yet again. There'll be a jump ball call, be Eagle basketball. But it looks like Baker's just kind of playing outside in, using his length to just get up with jump shots and work his way into the paint when he finds lanes.
Yeah, kind of a similar body type to like Kevin Durant or something, of just that length. He can kind of take that jump shot, and it's not really a player on the court that if he gets up just a little bit, that's going to be able to even get a hand up around the ball.
That's just right there, Rouse Neff getting the mid-range shot to go. As Coach Caruso going to go with his first substitution of the game. Tope Allo, the sophomore guard, will be checking into the game after the dead ball as Riles Neff pushes the pace for the Eagles.
Yeah, we talked about how the size of the Badgers might take away some opportunities in the paint, but we've seen Jeremy Maranta sky for some boards, nearly got a couple tips in, and then that last possession on defense, skies for the board. Maranta, don't forget, as a 6'1" guard, he averages nearly 8 rebounds a game, and last season he was 6th in the North Atlantic Conference in rebounds. A 6'1" guard doing that is absolutely insane. Doesn't matter how much height you have. Maranta is a player who knows how to get things done.
And I've seen a lot of possessions as we see Eagles stepped out on the baseline. It'll be Badgers ball, but we've seen a lot of possessions so far. Badgers trying to get a defensive rebound, but Jeremy Maranta just jumping over everyone to get it.
Yeah, Maranta's one of those players, not as much height as you might see normally out there on the court, but just kind of freakishly athletic and has that ability to get up around the basket.
As Baker's three-point attempt, no good. Maranta pushing the pace for the Eagles. His spin layup, no good. Rebounded by Carter. He'll pass to Baker, and Baker will take it up. Husson looking to try to full-court trap as a pass down to Baca. Baca can't control it. Would have had an easy layup as Tope Allo will steal it.
Yeah, that was good hands by Neff to force the ball into Allo's hands.
And Allo drives as that'll be no good. Good defense right there by Carter, and there will be a call on Jeremy Maranta. A foul call on the rebound. Apparently Jeremy Maranta was being a little too physical there on the rebound, but it looked like he was doing his typical Jeremy Maranta thing, trying to crash the glass.
And we'll see this a lot also, just kind of going back to Tope Allo. One of those guys who just really can just turn back the clock with his defense. He's somebody that can just go on the court and is one of those big spark plugs that you need coming off your bench. A guy who plays exceptional defense, has great verticality, that can score at any given moment.
As we see Matthew Carter getting a mid-range shot to go. The freshman 6'5" guard from Tennessee, averaging 20 points a game, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. He's shooting 50% from the field, 35% from 3, and 90% from free throw. That's some senior numbers right there. As Baker drives to the lane, he gets it to go. Too much length in the post.
Yeah, I think Avery's saying the Kevin Durant comparison, that does look pretty nice now. He's even got the Brooklyn Kevin Durant 7 number. You see him use his length a couple times, dropping the hammer earlier in this first half. Now getting to the rim with ease on that last possession.
As Tope Allo passes the Neff, his three-point shot, no good. Rebounded by the Badgers. As Sword will push the pace. Maranta, airtight defense, nowhere to go. Sword passes to Carter. Carter will drive to the right side. Gives it off to Wilson. His shot no good. Rebounded by Neff. As Neff working some moves, will pass to Scott Lewis, who hesitates from three, doesn't take the shot. Dribbles back, then drives, kicks to Tope Allo. His three, no shot there. Back to Lewis in the corner. His three, good. Scott Lewis from the corner. As the Eagles retake the lead, they lead 15-14. Oh, excuse me, 14-14. They'll call that shot a two-pointer. So it'll be a timeout on the floor with 11 minutes, 22 seconds remaining. We have a tie ball game here in Newman Gymnasium. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Newman Gymnasium as Rouse Neff gets the steal off the inbounds and Husson has a 2-point lead. They regain it as Baker will get the ball and dribble it up across half court for the Badgers.
That's a great play by Neff. Just heads up out of the timeout, takes the steal away. A lot of people know Rouse Neff is a scorer, a guy who can just light you up, but his defense is the most underrated aspect of his game.
As Burpee guarding Wilson right there by Eli Wilson, the junior forward, getting the shot from the right block to go. We're back tied. Neff passes to Motundo. Motundo to Ty Henke. Henke dribbles to the right side, passes to Neff. His three, good! Rouse Neff doing what he does best.
Yeah, 12 quick points for Riles Neff. He's been the key catalyst as to why the Eagles have been able to go back and forth with the Badgers right now.
You see Sword dribble right. Good defense by Rouse Neff. Baker will shoot a deep three, and that one's good. Ty Henke can't get close enough. Too much length. As Baker gets his three to go.
Yeah, and I said to you, Sam, during that timeout as well, that I'm not a huge fan of that Baker on Henke matchup from a Husson perspective right now. That Henke's an excellent defender, but it just feels like a little too much height for him to defend out there offensively.
6'10's a lot to handle, especially in trying to guard him from the three-point line. That's just so much length to rise up with. As there will be a technical foul.
It's going to go against Motundo. He looked like he was looking for the contact when he drove to the paint and did not like the fact that there was no foul call. Of course, Tope Allo right there to clean it up. He got the rebound actually over the 6'10 Baker. The elevation there was pretty crazy. Nonetheless, Motundo will get the technical foul, and it'll be Carter shooting two for the free throw line.
Yeah, and these are the ones that the Eagles right now can't give up. This is going to be a close game throughout. And these free throws are kind of the name of the game in these close ones. Those points you can score without any offense or defense on you, that is, that's how you can really separate yourselves.
Just like that, Lewis right back into the game after the frustrating foul by Motundo. Definitely somebody you don't want to have off the court for too long. We talked about Motundo and how impactful he is defensively, but offensively provides a lot of length, a lot of rebounding as well, and can score 12, 15 plus if you give him enough opportunity.
Yeah, and I'm sure you guys have talked about all year up here on the broadcast, just the Eagles kind of lacking height. They've had a lot of injuries to some of those bigger players. Eric Ehlers out for the season, one of their biggest players out there on the roster. Andre McCauley also injured, another player who offers the Eagles a little bit more height than some of their smaller guards. And it's something that they've been struggling with, and now going up against a big physical team.
Scott Lewis gets one to go right underneath the basket. Husson takes the lead. A lot of back and forth action here in the first half with 9 minutes left. Vermont State Johnson leading the Eagles in rebounding 16-8. So it'll be a foul on the court. Ty Henke will get called. The foul on the floor. It'll be a one-on-one opportunity for Matthew Carter, the outstanding freshman.
Yeah, you can already tell from the beginning of this game, it's going to be very, very physical. And you see how both coaches involved super early on. For the Badgers, head coach Alfred Johnson in his fourth season as head coach extremely vocal, extremely active. A lot of respect and admiration from his players.
As Tope Allo with a good hesitation shot fake gets his defender going in the air, but he can't make the layup. As Matthew Carter pushing the pace, and he will dunk it. Matthew Carter getting up. As Vermont St. Johnson playing very well here in the first half. They lead now 24-23. Riles Neff dribbles to the left side. Passes to Burpee. Burpee will have it tipped away, and then there will be a foul called on Burpee.
I think it might have been a little extracurriculars on the part of Semega. I mean, Burpee's a big guy, sure, but he's not throwing someone of Semega's caliber around. Nonetheless, it will result in Mohamed Semega going to the line for 2.
Well, it's one of those ones that you talk about in a lot of sports, that kind of smart play of drawing the foul, that it's not something that necessarily you want to say, but at the same time happens a lot in soccer, which is kind of my sport, of you kind of have to sell it sometimes to get the foul. Right now, Johnson at that 1-and-1 opportunity, you may as well you got a little bit of a push, take that foul, trying to move yourself up the court.
Yeah, big plays like that could be the be-all end-all in a game like this.
Scott Lewis finds Henke on the right side. He'll dribble. He is just not in good position right there as he shoots it right underneath the basket. It will go out of bounds off him. Vermont basketball. Riles Neff trying to get his guys just to settle down, trying to be the leader he is, trying to get his guys collected. Because I think they realize they're in for a tough matchup here against the Badgers. As Matthew Carter dribbles at the top of the key. And he'll put that up.
And that's just great offense by Carter. I mean, Allo couldn't have played any better defense than that. He was right in his face, had his hands up, but it's just a great shot by Matthew Carter.
As Ty Henke wide open from the corner. Good pass by Neff, but he can't get the 3 to go. Offensive rebound opportunity by the Eagles. They'll go off of Allo and out of bounds Badgers basketball.
Yeah, and Husson is a little dumbfounded. They thought that ball, it looked like from here it bounced off the leg of Raymond Baca. Nonetheless, it will go back to the Badgers.
Carter will dribble it. He'll drive to the left side, guarded by Allo. Puts one up from midi and off the glass. Nice kiss. Nice shot by Matthew Carter. We've seen a lot of it early in this one. He now has 11 points.
Yeah, Matthew Carter, takeover right now. I think he scored the last 6 for Johnson right now.
He was 5 for 8 from the field. As the Eagles will turn it over, the Badgers push the pace. Jeremy Maranta is going to check back in the game for the Eagles. But Sword was open under the basket. That pass tipped away, stolen by Scott Lewis. Coach Caruso takes a much-needed timeout as the Husson Eagles will talk it over. Badgers lead 28-23. We'll be right back after this timeout. Welcome back to the Husson Eagles Sports Network. I'm Logan Martin, joined with Sam Miller and Avery Henningsen. 28-23 basketball game in favor of the Badgers. Very competitive game to say the least so far in the first half. 7 minutes to go. Husson coming out of timeout. What do you think Coach Caruso drawed up?
Just continuing to try to drive and kick out of into the paint. I mean, of course, the height of the Badgers is going to be, it's tough for any team to kind of overcome. So when you got someone like Neff who's got the hot hand from shooting outside, you want to drive the basketball into the paint, look for an open man, and try to find yourself some outside shooting.
As we see Berger Pass to Henke. Henke to Neff. Now post touch to Maranta. Realizing he has a mismatch on Sword, he'll kick it out to Scott Lewis. Guarded by Baker. Dribble, crossover, drive, spin move. Good move by Scott Lewis. Silky smooth gets that one to go.
That's post play 101 by Scott Lewis. Was not bothered by the mismatch at all. Just went right at the body of Baker and used his greater strength to overpower him and kiss it off the glass.
As Baca receives a double team by the Eagles, swings it over to Sword. He dribbles, dishes it down to Semega, who gets the layup to go.
That was all set up by Lucas Sword. He made Neff overhelp a little bit on that closeout and then just kicked it downstairs to Semega for an easy 2.
As Henke's mid-range shot too strong off the back rim. He can't get it to go so far in this game. A little frustrated with himself, but he needs to keep taking those open shots if Husson wants to have a chance.
Yeah, Henke since that wrist injury about a month ago. I think this being one of the games since coming back from that, I think that shot just a little bit off still.
Baca getting yet another offensive rebound. Baca now has 6 rebounds on the game, leads all teams.
How about this Johnson team, guys? We were talking about it during that timeout, but 3-10 record coming into this one. Lost 2 games to the Linden team that the Eagles beat by 38 last night. This is a team that hasn't had a whole lot of success on the season. They've had a lot of close matchups, but at the same time have kind of struggled. And we were saying, I think Baker being one of those names. I mean, you kind of just got to point at him being 6'10". He hasn't done a lot in this one so far. Has 7 points, but still, it's just that presence out there, the height. And/or it's kind of what you got to point to when a team that doesn't have a whole lot of wins is suddenly beating the best team in the conference.
And it is impressive. I wonder if that was a recruiting strategy by Coach Johnson of the Badgers team, just to recruit tall guys. If you look at this roster, I'll go down and name it: 6'1", 6'7", 5'11", 6'10", 6'5", 6'7", 5'5", 6 foot, 6'3", 6'3", 6'4", and 6'7". That's a lot of length. It's Jeremy Maranta with a transition layup. Gets that one to go. The Eagles cut the lead to 3.
That's a huge basket for the Eagles right there. Maranta, right place, right time, beautiful body control, and cuts the lead down to 3.
As the Eagles going to a 2-3 zone now. Trying to make the Badgers to try to shoot outside and take away the post touches down low. As we see Matthew Carter hesitate, drive baseline, kicks it back out to Semega. Semega drives, good move. Too strong off the backboard. Rebound by Henke, but loses it. Baca regains it. Out to Carter, back down to Baca. Baca pass out to Sword, back to Carter. He drives baseline. And there'll be a foul called on Ty Henke. There's a lot of dramatic movements by this Badgers team trying to draw fouls, especially by Carter, just trying to sell that foul on offense and defense. Seen a lot from him today.
It's interesting this team doesn't really rebound on free throw attempts, really just drops everybody back down to the other end of the court.
Must be a way just to save energy, get all those guys back. There's Matthew Carter at the line. 90% free throw shooter, doesn't get the second one to go. He goes 1 for 2 in that.
He nearly got his own miss as well.
There'll be a foul called on Semega. As the fouls in the Badgers' favor in this game. Eagles 9 team fouls. Badgers only have 4. That was their 4th right there. Riles Neff inbounds underneath the basket. Pass to Scott Lewis. Pass up the mid-range. Back to Neff. Good pump fake. Scott Lewis pump fake to Scott Lewis and then takes that mid-range shot. Doesn't even move. Doesn't dribble. Riles Neff just doing what he does best, shooting that mid-range shot.
Yeah, 6 for 9 on the game now, 16 points. Riles Neff single-handedly right now just keeping the Eagles in this game on offense.
Riles Neff, 5 for 8, 2 for 4 from 3. Also has 2 from the free throw line. Scott Lewis gets the rebound. Pass up to Ty Henke. Baker tries to time up a block, and that was a great move by Ty Henke to see that Jason Baker wanted to block his shot, so he pump fakes, gets him to go in the air, gets the and one opportunity.
And that's just beautiful patience by Henke on that play. Like you said, Logan, he knew that Baker was going to try to go for the block. He pump faked that shot, kissed it home off the glass, and has a chance to put the Eagles back in front.
Now Ty Henke with that free throw gives the Eagles the lead again. There have been 7 lead changes in this game. The largest lead being 4 points. As the Eagles lead by 1. As Riles Neff getting the passing lane, couldn't get that steal. Sword recovers it, passes to Wilson. Wilson spin move back to Sword, over to Carter. He'll drive baseline, and he'll get blocked by Ty Henke. Ty Henke passes up to Neff. Good pass up to Maranta, and that will be a goaltending violation. Baker getting a little too giddy trying to block that one.
I mean, you got to respect the hustle of Eli Wilson. Was merely a millimeter away from sending that shot back. But nonetheless, Maranta gets the 2 points, and the Eagles now building a little bit more momentum. And you got to think that might be due because of the 2-3 zone that they're running on the defensive side.
As the Badgers will take a timeout, Coach Johnson wants one. We'll be right back after this break. The Eagles lead by 3, 36-33, with 3 minutes left in the first half. Welcome back to the booth. I'm Logan Martin, joined with Sam Miller and Avery Henningsen. We have a good matchup underway. Eagles lead by 3, with 3 minutes left in the first half. Coming out of the timeout, the Badgers will have a play cooked up as Baker will shoot a 3, too strong off the rim. That'll be Eagle basketball.
As soon as the Eagles started running that 2-3 defense, the Badgers have had some good looks, but just have not been able to convert anything. And of course, that came from the playbook of Warren Caruso, winning as head coach in NAC history.
As Riles Neff's 3, no good, off the front rim, rebounded by the Badgers. They'll push the pace. Carter spots up a 3, doesn't take it, passes into Baca. He'll be stripped away.
Yeah, and Caruso's had this job for this long and has had this much success for a reason. And you're seeing it right now that this Eagles team, a little bit of an adjustment, and all of a sudden are taking back control in this one.
Coach Caruso is one of those players. Have you heard the saying, playing chess, not checkers? He's definitely that kind of coach, is the king of making adjustments on the fly. He's done it for so long now.
The refs will be meeting up to discuss if that was a non-basketball play or not. Looked like there might have been something intentional or not. We do not know yet, but we can hear the fans saying that it was intentional. We'll be right back after this break to get a call on what just happened. Welcome back to Newman Gymnasium. There will be technical free throw shots by Ty Henke. No ejections were made, but Baca will sit down on the bench.
That's big for the Eagles right now. Baca really not having the most productive scoring night. He does have 8 points on 3 of 8 shooting, but he has 8 rebounds. It's really been dominating the glass and the defensive side of the ball. So with the Eagles starting to slowly build a lead, having Baca on the bench is something you don't want if you're the Badgers.
As Rouse Neff off the inbounds pass receives an immediate double team. Be tipped and out of bounds. It will remain Eagle basketball. Back to Neff off the inbound. Scott Lewis gives him a screen. He drives, steps back, pump fakes, and he'll go up with a shot. Good job going up into the shot contest, and he'll go to the line for 2 shots.
That's just the great awareness by Neff. He knew that Wilson wasn't going to give him enough space going for the blocks, so he used his body to lean right into him, and he's going to get some freebies here at the free throw line.
Yeah, taking a leaf there out of Carter's book, trying to draw that foul on a play that really didn't have anything going for it.
As Neff has 16 points on the night, he's 6 for 10 from the field, 2 of 5 from the three-point line, now 2 for 3 from the free throw stripe. The Eagles lead by 5, 38-33. Neff on the season, an 84% free throw shooter. Someone coach trusts to get to the foul line, making shots. As Sword will dribble it up court for the Badgers. Carter back to Sword, to Baker. Badgers looking to pick apart this 2-3 zone. Baker to Wilson. Wilson tries to pass it down to Glover, but that'll be tipped and out of bounds. It'll be Husson basketball.
That's great defense right there. That was all set up by Dylan Burpee, getting in the way of, I believe that was Sabriq Glover who checked into the game, stopping him on the block and poking it away for the Eagles.
Riles Neff, crossover drives right. That'll be blocked and out of bounds. Remains Eagles basketball. Avery, we see a lot of Eagles trying to just drive to the basket, get a layup, but you can kind of tell that the Badgers are just trying to time up a block.
Yeah, the Eagles have to be careful with those layup attempts. They're a strong team underneath, and obviously the Eagles make a lot of their point scoring down in the paint. You have a lot of these players, even their guards, both Neff and Maranta, despite their size, are some of the best players on the court at kind of driving to the hoop.
You see Scott Lewis getting one to go under the basket, and then Raymond Baca responds right there with 2 of himself. Eagles lead by 6 with a minute and a half left in the first half. Scott Lewis, handoff to Berger. He'll shoot a 3. Too hard off the back rim. Rebound by Baker using his length to go right over Scott Lewis. Pass to Carter, tip, but it'll go right into Baca's hands. His layup, no good. His left-hand layup botched right there. Maranta, good pass to Henke. He'll be met, but there'll be a foul called on Sword with Henke driving to the rim for a layup.
That was all set up by Henke's contest on Baca's shot at the other end of the floor. Got right in his way at the nick of time and then hustled down the court. Maranta saw him cutting to the basket. And Henke once again to add to his game right here.
As Tope Owl will check into the game for the Eagles. Ty Henke getting the first one to go. Ty Henke this year, the 6'6" forward, 72% from the line as he doesn't get the second one to go, goes 1 for 2. Eagles get their own rebound. Scott Lewis at the top of the key, hands it off to Neff. Neff pump fakes a 3, passes to Berger. Berger back to Neff. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Neff crossover, finds Maranta. He drives. He's got to put something up. He does. What a crazy shot, but too hard off the back rim. That would have been crazy if it went in. Be out of bounds, so off the Badgers remains Eagles basketball. With all this length that the Badgers have, they aren't able to come down with a lot of defensive rebounds. A lot of offensive rebounds, just not as many defensive rebounds. As we can see, 11 offensive rebounds, 14 defensive rebounds, almost as many offensive. That's pretty impressive. Tope Owl will get another offensive rebound for the Eagles. Scott Lewis post touchdown to Maranta. Maranta uses the mismatch. Doesn't have the right touch though. Tries to steal it away. It'll be off Maranta. Eagles lead by 7 with 30 seconds left in the first half.
You notice on defense for the Badgers, it was Baker who was guarding Lewis for a bit, but after Lewis just kind of was giving him the work and down low, it was Baca as Neff gets the steal.
Neff to Allo. Allo driving. That's going to be called the travel. He took about 7 or 8 steps right there. Will be Badgers basketball again. as Carter will dribble it off the court. Badgers will look to get the last shot. As Sword steps on the baseline driving, he'll be out of bounds. Eagles basketball.
Once again, set up by the defense of Dylan Burpee. He's come in and while he hasn't scored a lot of baskets, he's really just done a phenomenal job, both defensively and crashing the glass. He's set up a few plays where he's tipped the ball out to his players, and he's had some really good stops on defense. So the freshman having a big impact defensively.
Dylan Burpee, number 33, the freshman forward. As the Eagles, with 5 seconds on the clock, there'll be a foul underneath the basket. Morales Neff, the ball handler. It'll be 4 seconds, 4.6 seconds on the clock with an opportunity for the Eagles to score before halftime.
You heard Coach Johnson saying who's got number 1. They think he's going to take this last shot.
As Morata with a good move on Baker. Not enough mustard on that shot, though. It'll be left short. The Eagles, though, lead 7, 42-35 going into halftime. I'm Logan Martin alongside Sam Miller and Avery Hemmingson. We'll be right back after halftime. Hello and welcome back to Newman Gymnasium, where we have second half action getting underway. I'm Logan Martin, joined with Sam Miller and Avery Henningsen. Taking a look at some of the live stats from the first half. A couple that stand out. Rouse Neff with 17 points, and on the other side for the Badgers, Baca with 10, Carter with 12. Man, what's some things that have stood out to you on the stat sheet from the first half?
Well, the physicality, first of all, has been the main factor of this game. I think the Eagles were a little bit stunned by the physicality of the Badgers coming into this one. They were a little bit shell-shocked to start out. But then, of course, as Warren Crusoe does, he adjusts, and the Eagles have now built a 7-point lead. And what really stands out is the rebounding, of course. The Badgers with a 8 rebounding advantage over the Eagles. And that really has to do with Raymond Baca, as you said, Logan. So keeping him off the glass, keeping Jay Baker off the glass, and just maintaining poise and composure for the rest of this game is going to be crucial.
Just to touch on some more stats, 12 turnovers by the Eagles, only 2 by the Badgers. Points in the paint pretty even, 18 for the Badgers, 20 for the Eagles. Second chance points, a lot more for the Badgers, 13 compared to 6 for the Eagles. And fast break is where the Eagles have dominated with 14 fast breaks compared to the 3 by the Badgers. As we see Matundo dribble at the top of the key, give it to Maranta. Maranta to Lewis. Neff will control it, drive to the rim. And there'll be a whistle. I'm confused on what happened right there, but it looks like it'll be out of bounds or remain Eagle basketball.
Yeah, Semega poked it away from Neff, and then as Neff was trying to regain control, Semega poked it away again, so it will stay with the Eagles.
As Heald has these from a 3, dribbles into a mid-range shot and takes it. Connor Heald gets that one to go. First 2 points of the second half for the Eagles.
Yeah, we didn't see a whole lot of Matundo and Heald for a lot of that first half after both of them got quick 2 fouls to start off that one, but now back out there. Some of the key offensive contributors for the Eagles.
As you see right there, Baker's shot right in front of the rim, too short, rebounded offensively by Baca. Raymond Baca with yet another offensive rebound, gets that one up and gets the foul as well. It'll be a 3-point play opportunity for Raymond Baca. He doesn't make the free throw, stay at 2 points. Husson leads by 5, 44-39, with just under a minute played in the second half. Scott Lewis passes to Matundo. Looks like they'll try to set some up. Matundo drives to the rim. Drives baseline, kicks it to Maranta. Maranta drives baseline as well, finds Lewis. Lewis with a spin move, and then it's blocked by Baker. Good length, good block by Baker right there underneath the hoop. As Connor Heald left wide open for 3, and that's what happens. He hits another one. Connor Heald with 5 quick points to open up the second half. 2
possessions, 2 baskets for Connor Heald. Him getting going is going to be very, very good for the Eagles if he can just continue this hot streak.
Yeah, people forget Heald, only the freshman here for the Eagles. I think he's going to step into a big role over his career. If he stays for 4 years at Husson, he could definitely try to move his way up those scoring charts.
As Scott Lewis gets the rebound off the miss by the Badgers. Riles Neff pushing the pace on Baker. Finds Heald. Heald has the drive. Kick back out to Neff. He's wide open for 3. Too strong off the back rim. Rebounded by Semega. Mohamed Semega with his 3rd rebound in this game. He passes to Carter. Trying to give Baca a post touch. Carter drives. Oh my goodness. Tried to dunk on Scott Lewis. It'd be a foul called on the Eagles. I haven't seen that. A guard trying to get up on Scott Lewis like that. Just going for the poster.
I know. Carter was looking for the facial. A highlight reel play right there on Scott Lewis. Nonetheless, he got whacked on his way to the line. And a chance for 2.
Yeah, we saw Carter get up and yam one in that first half and trying to do it over the center on that one. But we've also seen him have a big knack for just kind of getting those fouls called for him out there on the offensive side of things.
As we have one more shot here for Matthew. Carter gets the first one to go. Second free throw. Good. As the 90% free throw shooter gets both of those to go. He's a very talented young player, the freshman. Now with 16 points in this ball game. Scott Lewis has the ball in the left elbow. Sets the play up for Riles Neff. His 3 short right off the front rim. Rebounded by Baca. He'll control it, pass up to Carter. Carter will push the pace for the Badgers. Ooh, crossover into a midi. No good, short, but had Riles Neff stumbling a little bit. Rotundo will push the pace, backs out of it, doesn't have the numbers, guarded by Baker. He'll drive left on him. Baker right there guarding him. He'll block that. That'll be rebounded by the Badgers, pushing the pace up to Carter. His layup, no good, short. Rebounded by Riles Neff. The Eagles with a little bit of tempo to Maranta. His first three of the game, no good. Offensive rebound by Maranta. As that is stolen away by Baca. Just did not see where that pass was going, and Baca will hammer that one in.
Yeah, just dropping the hammer on that play. Great read by Baca to look at the miscue by the Eagles. He throws it down and cuts the lead to 4 now for the Badgers.
Eagles now with 5 turnovers on the game, now 6 as Gil Batundo steps out of bounds. And I feel like half of the turnovers by the Eagles are on stepping on the baseline or out of bounds. Give credit to how they've held on to the ball today. As Sword will dribble it up for the Badgers, passes to Semega. Semega to Baker on the top of the key. The 6'10 junior drives right, steps back. Ooh, that was smooth. That was just like Durant, like Avery compared him to in the first half. A little mid-range fadeaway, gets that one to go nothing but net. And another turnover by the Eagles. Carter pushing the pace. No layup, but it'll be a foul on Maranta. Maranta, a lot of these fouls calling him Maranta, he has not agreed with, pretty much all of them.
I think we're going to see a timeout here from Caruso soon. This Eagles team right now on a little bit of a slide. They kind of just need to re-lock back in. They were really dominating the Badgers in the last 5 to 8 minutes of that first half, but it seems like they've lost what they were doing there early or late in that first half.
As Carter gets that free throw to go, the first one, he has another one up. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like even when the Eagles aren't playing that well, they are still holding on to the lead and still holding on to control of this ball game. As Carter misses the second free throw, rebound by Scott Lewis.
Yeah, the credit to that is that the Eagles, just despite all these mistakes and all these questionable calls by the referees, they're keeping their composure and they're attacking the paint. Scott Lewis did it right once again. We've seen him have success in that matchup against Baker down low. So I think doing more of that and just staying composed, calm, cool, and collected is going to be very crucial going forward. And, of course, as Avery mentioned, the defense has been sliding a little bit so far to start the second half. But to end it, this is a team that can really just turn it on and go on a run at any given point. So both these teams extremely physical, like to play with at a very high velocity. So we'll see what happens here as this game progresses.
Yeah, and I do like that matchup that Sam just mentioned of Lewis on Baker. Baker's got the height on him, but I think Lewis has the strength over Baker down low and can really kind of just use his body to just kind of drive his way in towards the basket.
As Riles Neff Scott Lewis goes 1 for 2 from the stripe. He now has 9 points and 10 rebounds in the game. Rebounded by Maranta. Passes up to Neff. He drives. His right-handed layup. Good. Too easy for Riles Neff. As the Badgers pushing the pace. Carter gets a trap, gets a double, but still finds a way to sneak out of that one. He puts it up for a layup. Timeout by Vermont State Johnson. As the Eagles lead by 2, 50-48 with 15 minutes left in the second half. We'll be right back after this timeout. Welcome back to Newman Gymnasium. Right out of the timeout, Scott Lewis will pass it into Riles Neff. They'll dribble it up the full length of the court. Or of the half court, as Gil Matundo gets the ball past to Riles Neff. Almost stolen away by the Badgers again. Scott Lewis gets a post touch, spins, finds Maranta wide open in the corner. No good, just short off the front rim. Rebounded by Baca, hands it to Carter. Now Carter pushes the transition for the Badgers. Sword at the top of the key, drives right. His layup is good. Way to switch from right to left right there to get that layup to go. Didn't look like he had much room. It looked like it was going to be blocked, but gets it up and in. as the Badgers tied up 50 apiece now in this ball game.
Yeah, over the outstretched arms of Matondo and Lewis. Just a great play by Sward.
As now we have a transition opportunity by the Badgers as Samega making the unselfish pass to Baca, who dunks it right in. That's 2 dunks we've seen by Baca in transition now in the second half. These Badgers playing tough. It's Matondo will dribble, pass to Murata. Scott Lewis gets the screen, wide open under the basket. Great play, great find by Murata. That's why Coach Caruso is one of the best right there. He knows how to get the guys open in the right time. As Carter takes a deep 3, that was way short. And that'll be thrown away by the Badgers. First time we've seen Carter kind of make a rookie mistake there. I don't know if that 3 was the best shot opportunity for the Badgers as Murata drives baseline, kicks to Heald again, open for 3, no good. Rebounded by the Badgers. That would have been a huge 3 right there. Eagles haven't got one to go in a little bit, it seems like. Momentum towards the Badgers. As Carter drives baseline, takes a mid-range shot, no good, rebounded by Matondo. It's a 2-man substitution. Tope Allo and Ty Hinkie will come in for the Eagles after the dead ball. Connor Heald for mid-range shot, good. He's been shooting the ball well in this game. Connor Heald now with 12 points in this game, 10 points in this game. He is 4 for 6 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3. He's played 12 minutes. As Baca gets another dunk to go underneath the basket. Quick response by the Badgers.
A little bit of a defensive lapse from Matondo and Lewis. Didn't really see Baca cutting into the lane. Nonetheless, both teams exchanging blows right now.
It's Riles Neff with a spin move. Can't get anything to go. Scott Lewis cut. Nice cut by Scott Lewis. Layup just out. Offensive rebound by Murata, and he puts it up and in. And that's one of the best rebounding guards in the NAC.
That's what Murata does better than any other guard in the North Atlantic Conference. Exactly to your point, Logan. He was right there, just sky for the board over the smaller defender and just put it back up for the lead.
It's a great job by Carter trying to find position under the hoop. I'm surprised there was no foul called there as Connor Heald leading the break for the Eagles. He gets that layup to go. Eagles lead 58-54, and just like that, Eagles have momentum.
That's just a huge sequence right there for the Eagles. 2 straight buckets of some great plays from their star players. And that's just what the doctor ordered in order to kind of just try to break this lead a little bit open for them.
Just what the doctor wanted. There'll be a timeout, and the court will be right back after this break. Sweet Caroline. Welcome back to Newman Gymnasium. It's coming out of the timeout. The Eagles have a 4-point lead.
Yeah, they got a lot of momentum going there right before that timeout. I think Coach Caruso wanting to just kind of save that, tell his team, this is what we're trying to do out there, and just try to figure out what they can do to keep this Badgers team from having another one of their offensive flurries.
That 3 no good by the Badgers. Be a violation. It'll be Eagle basketball.
Yeah, a good shot by checking in Darren Ferroni. Just kind of forced it up a little bit. He had the open shot, but nonetheless, it'll go back to the Eagles.
That's Riles Neff. Has the ball at the top of the key. He'll drive to the right side of the basket. Guarded by Baker. Riles Neff pump fakes a 3, drives. Back out to Heald. Heald to Henke. Henke drives right. And he'll be fouled. Fouls on Frierson, Daron Frierson, the sophomore, 6-foot forward from Baltimore, Maryland. Now Ty Henke, the 72% free throw shooter, who's 4 for 5 from the line today, shoots 2. Now he's 5 for 6.
Yeah, getting Henke back is such a huge pickup for the Eagles, especially now coming into a game like this against the Badgers, who, like we talked about throughout this broadcast, up and down the board really have the Eagles when it comes to the height advantage. Having someone like Henke back who's good at crashing the boards, they can light it up from anywhere, is huge.
As both free throws are good by Ty Henke, we have a 60-54 ball game with 11 minutes and 40 seconds left. As Carter drives, passes to Smega to Baker, and that one gets tipped away, out of bounds. It will remain Badgers basketball. We have not seen a lot of Baker here in the second half.
Yeah, you got to give credit to the Husson defense just keeping the on-ball pressure just so far on him. And see, back in that 2-3 zone, Allo just kind of on the coverage now.
As Baker screens for Carter and then posts up. Carter doesn't inbound it or pass it down to him. Skips it across to Sword. Sword to Carter. He throws a 3 up, in and out, no good. Rebounded by Tope Allo. Pushing the paces, Rouse Neff. Passes to Matundo. Matundo back out to Henke. His 3. Good! Ty Henke gets a 3 to go. And the Eagles have their largest lead of the night. They're up 9 with 11 minutes left.
That's a big, big three-pointer right there, Logan.
Wide open under the hoop is Baca. Good defense by Henke. Good recovery. Sorry, Avery. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're good. As Eagle, great defensive play there from Matundo on the opposite end.
As Heald's 3. Good! Oh! Lights out, baby. That man's lighting it up from three-pointer. And the mid-range shot. He's getting it to go.
Those are huge possessions by the Eagles. Connor Healer running down the court. Wide open for 3. Bingo. Eagles up by 12.
This would be a foul under the basket. Baca gets smacked in the face, going for a rebound. There'll be a moment to check on him, see if he's okay. Frierson will enter the game for Carter. Matthew Carter will take a seat, the freshman who's had a great game so far in this one. Carter with 19 points, 6 of 16 shooting, 7 for 11 from the free throw line. He has 7 rebounds, a steal in 30 minutes.
And keep an eye on Matondo, usually a starter. Now he has 4 fouls in this game. If he comes back onto the court, you know that Coach Alfred Johnson for the Badgers will want to exploit that matchup. Just try to go right at him to try to draw his last foul.
Baca posts up, hands it to Sword, back out to Baker. His 3 is good. Jason Baker getting his first 3 of the second half to go for the Badgers. Baker now has 12 points, 2 for 4 from the three-point line.
His release is so smooth. You could tell as soon as that left his hands.
That's Ross Neff with a left-handed layup, good.
Neff gets the nice hit left-handed layup. Baker's release just looks so pretty when he knocked that shot down.
As Baca underneath the basket. First shot, no good, gets his own rebound, puts the second one up and in.
Well, with the height that Baker has, he doesn't really need to get as much arc on it as maybe a shorter player might. He can almost shoot kind of just this little kind of bunny shot out there and allows him to just get a very smooth release.
Heald's 3, no good, off the back rim. Connor Heald tries to get a steal, overshoots it a little too much. Semega has the ball in the corner, up to Baker. His 3, no good, off the front rim. Rebounded by Scott Lewis, hands it to Allo. Allo pushing it up for the Eagles. Drives, finds Scott Lewis driving. Scott Lewis gets fouled going to the basket. Great cut, great IQ, great find right there. Good basketball.
That's just in the Eagles' wheelhouse right there. We've seen these last few possessions. Pushing the pace, looking for the open man, driving and kicking it out for the 3. They've done a great job of that in these last few minutes of the second half.
Scott Lewis, 1 for 2 from the line today, with 2 more to go. As he's now 2 for 3.
Really haven't talked about Scott Lewis a lot. I mean, in this game now, 12 points and 11 rebounds as well. Lewis having himself a very productive game against. We talked about how that matchup with Baker and Baca and the rest of those big men for the Badgers. Lewis has been holding his own and been doing a stellar job of holding things down in that restricted area.
As Maranta Tries to backdoor steal right there. Almost successful, out of bounds, but it'll stay Badgers basketball. Inbounds it to Sword. Badgers down 11, looking for some hope. As we see a three-point attempt by Frierson. Up and good from the corner. His first 3 points of the game.
That's a big shot for the Badgers.
Just when all the momentum seems to be in the Eagles' favor, a three-pointer by a bench player is sometimes all you need. As an offensive rebound off the missed three by Allo, Henke gets the rebound and gets himself open in the corner. In and out, no good. Rebound by Baker. The 6'10" man making his first game of the year with his third rebound. As Frierson will shoot another three. In and out. Almost hit the bottom of the net and went back out. Rebounded by Glover. And that'll be blocked by Scott Lewis. He says, as the Eagles will be in transition. Connor Hill drives to the basket. Nice shot! Over the 6'10" Baker, the freshman from Florida, getting one to go. He's having himself a game.
Basketball 101 with the Eagles. First, the textbook rejection by Scott Lewis, and then Connor Hill, not bothered by the defense. A tough lay to put the Eagles up back by double digits.
And just when the score doesn't tell us it's really a 10-point lead, or excuse me, the play doesn't tell us it's a 10-point lead, the score reminds us that the Eagles have been doing a great job responding to what the Badgers have thrown at them. As Matthew Carter checks back in the game for Sword. Guard for a guard as Baker will get the ball off the inbound.
It's kind of funny, Avery. We talked about not really seeing Jay Baker that much, but as soon as we said that, it seems like his touches have just increased since then.
As Scott Lewis gets a wide open three-point attempt. No good. Rebounded by Carter. I don't know if Caruso wanted that shot right there. Try to drain a little bit of clock. These Badgers have been playing the Eagles tough. As Baker will have the ball at the top of the key. Frierson will shoot another three. No good. And there will be defensive rebound by the Eagles. A lob attempt to Henke. Almost saw a poster. Was that dunk attempt unsuccessful? That came out of nowhere. It was next thing you know, Moranta has the ball, and next thing you know, he's throwing up a lob to Henke.
If Henke had thrown that down over Semega, the bench would have erupted. That play would have been probably one of the filthiest plays since the J. Thomas buzzer beater a few short years back that we've seen in quite a while.
As Baca will enter the game again for the Badgers, check back in. As Glover will sit down for the Badgers. Second free throw attempt by Henke off the front rim, no good, but good job by Moranta. He just seems to be right behind you when you'd at least expect it, just trying to steal the ball from you. It's like the fifth time we've seen that by Jeremy Moranta. Works out well right there. Jump ball violation. It will stay Eagles basketball off the missed free throw. Inbounded to Moranta. Passes to Henke. He has a wide open three. No good. Short. Rebounded by Carter for the Badgers. Pushes it up to Semega. Semega driving hard to the rim with contact. And there'll be a late call there. I think that's the right one. Just a little bit late of a call with Semega's attempt going towards the lane. There'll be two shots for Muhammad Semega, the junior guard from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, studying mathematics, civics, and,
Muhammad Semega shooting two.
Went to the mathematics, civics, and sciences charter school. I thought that was telling us what his major was, but that was the high school he went to.
Haven't seen the best of us on these broadcasts. I mean,
of course, mathematics, civics, and sciences.
I mean, it could be worse. It could be worse. We could go on the air and sing "Sweet Caroline" as soon as the timeout came up.
Yeah, that was a.
I think it's okay. It's New England's song.
We love Neil Diamond here in New England.
As Tope Hallow drives to the left side of the rim, it'll be a foul, and he'll go to the line for two shots.
These two teams right now just trading fouls. It's been a physical game throughout. I think that's starting to brew a little bit. Obviously, both teams wearing down a little bit. See a lot of fouls late in games when teams are just getting a little bit more tired.
And keep an eye on Raymond Baca. He has 4 fouls, one more, and he's out of this game. And that's going to be a huge loss for the Badgers.
As Riles Neff hands to Tope Hallow, who shoot a three. He'll be off the front rim, no good. Rebounded by Semega. He'll control the ball for the Badgers and push it up past half court. Pass to Baca. Baca to Baker. His three. Good. Jason Baker's shooting very well from the three-point line in this one.
Yeah, Riles Nevins had to make a judgment call right there because he figured Baker would pass the ball into the corner to a wide-open Matthew Carter. Nonetheless, Baker took advantage of that and splashed it home from downtown.
That's Riles Neff doing what he does down the post. Great control. Very calm when he gets the ball down low for a guard.
Yeah, 25 points now for Riles.
Might be the quietest 25 points.
I was about to say that. It feels like there's other guys who are raining threes out there and getting all these points, whereas Neff, he just kind of quietly almost every game. This big slam there from Henke, but quietly every game he just kind of sneaks his way up there, and you look up at the big scoreboard, and all of a sudden he's at 25.
As Baca will drive for the Badgers. No good. Rebounded by Baker. He falls to the ground, looks behind him to Frierson. His three. No good. Another rebound, except it will be tipped and out of bounds. Samega trying to keep it alive. The Eagles basketball as Connor Heald will check back into the game. He'll check in for Tope Allo.
Yeah, Allo on a bit of a cold streak in terms of shooting these last couple of games. Just really hasn't been able to find his stroke from anywhere. But nonetheless, he does what Tope Allo does. Rebounding, defense, setting up plays. Still very productive nonetheless.
As Scott Lewis will get it taken away from him. Samega will dribble it up. Passes to Baker. Baker pump fakes, drives, Euro step. Gets that one to go. He's just too tall.
Oh, man, that was sweet.
So now the Eagles lead by 8 with 4 minutes left in the second half.
Yeah, Baker's single-handedly keeping them in this contest right now.
And a three-point attempt by Riles Neff. He'll finally get the foul call. If you don't remember, a couple of those could have been called in the first half. He finally gets one to go in the second. He'll go to the line for 3, not 2, but 3 shots. How much of a deal breaker is that for the Eagles, or for the Badgers, I should say, in this situation? Now you sent their best player to the line for 3 shots.
It's kind of a bad read. It was just kind of a bad read from Samega. He knew that Neff was going for the shot. He tried to close out, but just did not give Neff enough time to. So that one toilet bowls in. He did not give Neff enough landing space in his jump shot area, so that will result in 3 free throws. And as you said, Logan, this is not the guy you want at the free throw line.
As Riles Neff gets the first 2 to go, is now 79-69. 10-point lead for the Eagles. Could be 11 if he sinks his 3rd straight free throw.
Yeah, Neff seems to step up when this team needs him. We've seen it literally from his first game in an Eagles uniform. I remember watching him play down against Bowdoin last season for his first game for the Eagles, and he kind of stepped up late in the fourth quarter in overtime, beat a NESCAC opponent, kind of set the stage for what Riles Neff is going to do for Husson.
And there'll be a timeout on the court. The Eagles lead 80-69 with 4 minutes, 31 seconds left in the second half. We'll be right back after this timeout. Welcome back to Newman Gymnasium. If you've been tuning in, we appreciate you watching. I'm Logan Martin, joined with Sam Miller and Avery Henningsen. Great game we've watched so far today. Vermont State Johnson Badgers trail by 11 with 4 minutes left. You see Samega try to get one to go. It's blocked by Scott Lewis. Great defense. Came out of nowhere.
His second block of the game couldn't have come at a better time.
As that one, Maranta, an errant throw, turns it over to Baker. Samega drives and will get a layup to go. As Samega now with 6 points on this game. 8 points in this game. It's Riles Neff, spin move in the post. Nice touch. Right off the wrist. Right off the fingertips. Just a nice touch. He's so good in the paint. There will be a foul call on the Eagles. Might be a good foul if you weren't watching. There was a backdoor cut. That would have been a wide open layup as Baca walks right over to the trash can to spit. And walks right back onto the court.
Yeah, and the Badgers will be shooting the rest of the way now 1-1s as the rest of this game will progress.
That's a good point. Any tic-tac foul that's called will result in free throws for the Badgers. This is the first time we've seen a rebounder down for the Badgers as Baker lined up to try to get a rebound. As Samega gets the second one to go, is the Eagles lead down now to 9 again. As Moranto will dribble it up.
It's an interesting strategy. You just kind of take that whole aspect out of the game. Obviously,
cut by Riles Neff. Avery, I feel like I keep it.
Obviously, you don't.
You.
I think it's my own fault, but obviously, you don't really win a whole lot of those rebounds. But at this point, you're down 11. You got to get any chance you have at trying to get an offensive board.
Amen to that. As we see Baca get one to go. He's been dominant down in the paint. He might be in foul trouble, but he's been physical. He's been tough. It's been tough to guard him.
Yeah, 22 points, 13 rebounds. The senior Baca really just showcasing his worth for this Badgers team. And one thing I want to mention, we talked about the matchup between Jason Baker and Scott Lewis, but Lewis has really just quietly dominated that matchup. Of course, if you look at Baker, he's got 17 and 5 rebounds, but Lewis has 13 of his own, 5 for 11 shooting, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks. Lewis really holding it down the paint, and a very, like we said, a quiet reason why outside of Riles Neff's shooting, as Riles Neff now up to 32 points. Big reason why the Eagles are in front right now.
As Baker will control it for the Badgers, passes to Sword. Baker wide open for 3. Has these drives. Good find to Wilson, who gets blocked again by Scott Lewis, and then swats at him trying to get the ball back, and it'll end up being a foul.
And right on cue, Scott Lewis once again. And now the Eagles will be shooting the rest of the way. But yeah, Lewis has always been one of the key pieces and the key cogs to the wheel that is this Eagles team, and he's showcasing it why tonight. He's really done a great job holding it down in the paint, getting big-time rebounds, getting really clutch blocks, and just showcasing why he is one of the best big men in the North Atlantic Conference.
Scott Lewis at the line. Does not get the free throw to go. Rebounded by the Badgers. Turns out being a good foul for the Badgers. Sword controls the ball. He'll drive. Looks. Finds Wilson under, but stolen away by Scott Lewis, and then Wilson gets it right back. Ball on the ground again. Recovered by Neff. Pushes it up to Heald. Pump fake. Shot no good. Rebounded by the Badgers. A lot going on right there. Baker gets the ball. Good find to Carter. Matthew Carter gets it to go, and now a 7-point lead for the Eagles. Sloppy basketball resulting in 2 points for the Badgers. The next thing you know, they're right back in this game.
Yeah, the Eagles just, I think, playing a little bit too fast right now, just trying to play against the clock, even though at this point in the game, the clock is your ally. Just got to be a little bit more patient, hold the ball a little bit longer, don't try to force anything. I think he was trying to go for that foul call on that last shot. Nonetheless, resulting 2 for the Badgers, and we'll see how the Eagles can make these adjustments.
Avery, what do you think Coach Caruso is telling his boys?
He's telling them right now, we got to lock in. We've had a lead here for this whole second half, and right now you're allowing this Badgers team to just kind of hang around. 7 points is nothing at this point in the game. You got 2 threes and a foul play, and boom, it's a tie ball game. And I think for this Eagles team, they've been really, really strong in the second half, but they've just let the Badgers hang around for too long.
Basketball is a game of momentum, just like a lot of other sports, and in this case, Eagles have had momentum most of this second half, slipping away a little bit, see if they can regain control, and that one will be called a foul. Frierson getting a little too handsy right there. Looked like that could have been a steal attempt. Jeremy Moranto will go to the line for a 1-on-1 opportunity.
That's a costly foul for the Badgers, of course. Moranto not having the best scoring game, but regardless, he's still a player who can get you 8 points in the blink of an eye, so fouling someone of his caliber is definitely not a smart play.
As we see Gil Matundo enter the game for the Eagles.
Yeah, he's coming in for that defensive presence. At this point, the Eagles don't really need the points. They just need to keep the Badgers off the board.
And looking at the free throw numbers, Husson 74% in the game today, 17 for 23 from the free throw stripe. For the Badgers, 13 of 19, 68%. As Baker has the ball in the corner, skip pass to Carter. Carter drives baseline, backs out of it, then drives again. And it'll be stolen away by Riles Neff when he tries to go up for the basket. Riles Neff will control it, slow the pace. Good job by the senior leader.
That's Neff's 5th steal of the game. Like we said, normally known for his offense, but he's really holding it down.
Scott Lewis, right underneath the hoop. He's been reliable underneath the rim for the Eagles. As Baker finds Frierson in the corner again. Frierson gets that one to go. 80-88 game. Badgers trail by 8 with a minute and a half left. Riles Neff will pass back to Scott Lewis. Scott Lewis back to Neff. And if I was the Badgers, if Lewis had the ball, Neff, a lot of action going on as Lewis driving to the basket. There'll be a foul called. But if I were the Badgers, I would have just followed Lewis at the top of the key as soon as he touched the basketball. 66% free throw shooter.
Yeah, regardless of the play, I mean, Lewis is at the free throw line right now, but that was all set up by Matondo. He could have taken it himself after the pass from Neff, but he saw Lewis cutting to the paint and handed it off right to him. Unselfish play by Matondo.
Scott Lewis will be at the line. Baca will foul out of this basketball game. It's a huge blow for the Badgers as Baca fouled out of this game. He had 22 points on 50% field goal shooting. 2 for 3 from the free throw line. 13 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal. But ultimately fouls out of this game in 32 minutes of action. As Scott Lewis misses his first free throw, Eagles lead stays at 8.
Expect Matthew Carter and Jason Baker to get some more touches as with this last minute of the basketball going by. Outside of Baca, they've had their moments to score, so expect them to be very heavily involved as this game ticks away.
As Frierson goes up a quick 3 for the Badgers, rebounded by Baker. He'll throw one up himself. No good, short again. Rebounded by Maranta, will give it to Heald. Heald over to Neff. As he'll slow it down, up to Maranta, who has a wide open lay to the basket. Give it to Gil Matondo. His layup is good underneath the basket. Eagles lead by 11 with 48 seconds. That's pretty much the nail in the coffin in this one. Eagles looking to, they will improve their winning streak to 7 games now.
Yeah, and I think this is a Badgers team, Logan. Sam, that the Eagles could very well see later on in this season in the conference playoffs. They played this Eagles team really tough. This is the toughest I think a conference team has played Husson pretty much on the season. And it's a testament to kind of the physicality and the athleticism, I think, of this Badgers team, especially now having Baker back.
And you also got to give a lot of credit to the Eagles for keeping their composure throughout this game. Of course, this game was physical, this game was fast, and the Eagles were undersized the entire game, but they kept their composure, remained calm, cool, and collected, knocked down the big-time shots, and got everything to fall their way. This is a very impressive and gutsy win for your Husson University Eagles.
As we'll see 2 free throws from the Badgers. They're down 11. They missed the first free throw. That's Bartholet at the line. 0 for 1, getting the second attempt. Misses that one off the front rim as the Eagles will just dribble the clock out. As your Husson University Eagles escape with a win, 91-80 here in Newman Gymnasium. Great conference win by the Eagles, very impressive performance. Not to mention a very gritty team they played today. Vermont State Johnson Badgers played very well. Not very much depth coming off the bench, but with their 5 starters and the guys who came and put in valuable minutes, they played very tough, gave the Eagles a run for their money. I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in, along with Sam Miller and Avery Henningsen. They'd like to thank you as well. Appreciate you tuning in again. So long. Hope you have a great night.